Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review. I'm looking at this, the Taylormade Stealth Plus from 2022 Hybrid. Now the reason I'm looking at this is number one, I've always wanted to try one of these sort of adjustable better player hybrids from Taylormade. And secondly, on the second-hand market, this is actually cheaper than the Sim 2, which is the model before that, which begs the question, firstly, why? Is this actually any good? Or is it just because people preferred the Sim brand over the Stealth when it first came out? So I'll answer those questions obviously when at the end of this video. Also to see if this is actually still a good club and potentially a great bargain because, like I said, it is cheaper than the Sim 2. And also in some stores you can still pick this up brand new for a fraction of the price. So as always, let's have a closer look at this club. Then we're going to come back here, go through all the technologies in here. Obviously being Taylormade, there is bucket loads. Going to get out to the range, throw some figures at you, and then come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. All right, let's have a closer look at this club. So there you go, a closer look at the club. It's not a bad looking thing, but you can tell straight off the bat this is a better player's hybrid. I mean, if you compare it to my Ping G430 having the bag, oh, get it the right way around. There we go. You can just see the size difference there. You know, there's a bigger profile out the back, not so sleek design, you know, definitely built for more forgiveness rather than workability like this one. And so let's go into technology about this club because this is the whole point about this Stealth. So obviously Taylormade released two hybrids at the moment. You know, they do now and they did it this time as well. You had your normal Stealth and then you had this Stealth Plus Rescue, which is the idea. This one was, you know, a little bit less forgiveness, still good distance, but more workability for your better players who are looking for something that acts like a long iron but has more forgiveness like a hybrid. And this is the one that I have right now. The first time they did this was actually with the Sim 2 range. So you only had the Sim Max originally in 2020, and then you had the Sim 2, and then the Sim 2 Rescue in 2021. So going on to it, a little spiel about from Stealth themselves. Distance and control you can rely on. So engineered to complement the performance of Stealth fairways, the new Stealth Plus Rescue was designed to deliver the distance and forgiveness of a hybrid with the workability and control of an iron. Exactly what I've just said. So going into the technology that's in this club. So fast face improved shot making. The Stealth Plus Rescue is a shot maker's dream. A high toe profile, there you go, and compact overall footprint make it easy to control trajectory and shot shape while maintaining added forgiveness compared to long irons. The ultra strong C300 steel face delivers powerful ball speed and is prepared with the twist face, the corrective face curvature design to give everyone straighter shots on miss hits. Twist face has been in there for years, also forged by the way. Some people get on with it, some people don't. I've never really had a problem with it. Do I think it keeps my shot straighter? No. It's the answer to that. I do not. But there you go. Moving on, you've got mid-launch with added forgiveness, so redesigned V-Steel sole position, which they kept throughout their hybrids. And they've had it for years and years, and they brought it still into the QI10, but it's slightly different. The redesigned V-Steel sole position weight lower in the club to encourage optimal launch properties and enhances turf interaction to make this club a weapon from any lie. Sounds amazing. The through slot speed socket provides optimal forgiveness on shots hit low on the face. So this been in there for years with them. I can't imagine they were going to take out anytime soon. So there we go. There's the technology that's in the club. Now we also have an adjustment that you get with this club, which you don't with all hybrids. So some, you know, especially just a normal range, you know, just the Stealth hybrid didn't have that option of adjustability. So this is quite good. You know, provides 1.5 degrees up loft or decrease it by 1.5 degrees. So this 3 Rescue, which is 19.5, can go all the way up to 21. Let's get that in my head. and can go all the way down to 18. Now, the different options you had with this as well, you had a 2 rescue, a 3 rescue, and a 4 rescue. 2 rescue was 17 degrees, but only in right hand. Be aware of that. 3 rescue was 19.5, as I mentioned, which is right hand, left hand, and then the increased loft for the 4 was 22, again right hand, left hand. And do be aware, obviously, with this adjustment, it does change the face angle. So if you decrease the loft, it'll open the face up more, and increase the loft, it will close that face up. But one thing I will say about this club, it's very neutral. It's not closed like you can get some hybrids. So there you go. There's all the technology that is in this club, obviously jam-packed with it as you'd expect from a Taylormade club. Now, let's get down to range. I'm going to throw some figures at you, which are quite interesting, to be fair, and then we'll come back here for the ACS Golf Scale.
So let's jump straight into those figures. Now, for me, when it comes down to hybrid, I'm looking for an average about 210 yards to 215 yards total distance. Now, with this club, I had a carry of 181 yards, total distance on average of 208 yards, ball speed 132 miles per hour, launch angle 10, and height 40 feet. So a little bit down from where I was really hoping for. Don't get me wrong, the longest on the day was 190 yards total carry, 218 yards total distance, 137 miles per hour ball speed, so very happy with that. But I just found, even though I was getting quite consistent flights with it, all sort of went in the same direction, and did find it relatively easy enough to get it in the air, I wasn't really getting the best distance because I wasn't quite hitting it in the middle of the face every single time. Not going to lie, wasn't hitting it that well on the day, so forgiveness-wise was really showing up. But for a hybrid, it's not that great. I mean, the lowest I had was a total carry of 168 yards, total distance 201 yards, and ball speed only 126 miles per hour. So that's a real big drop down from the average there, with ball speed 132.
So there you go. So not exactly the figures I want. Normally for a hybrid, I want around 210 yards to 215 yards on average. So 208 yards is a little bit lower than I want. Ball speed 132 miles per hour, not the end of the world. Longest on the day was 218, total distance, ball speed 137 miles per hour. So, when you get this out in the middle, it really does go. But I just think the forgiveness side is there, the element there. The shortest was 201 yards for me. That's 18 yards shorter there. Popped up a little bit higher as well, 12 launch than the average. And ball speed went all the way down to 126. So unlike Ping, which is built for forgiveness, my go-to club if I'm in trouble, it doesn't really matter where I hit this on the face, it's going to perform really well. You've got to be able to hit this relatively in the middle. Don't get me wrong, it's still a hybrid, but it doesn't have the forgiveness that something like this does. So do be aware of that. So let's go into the ACS Golf Scale then. So we've got distance, feel, looks, price, and forgiveness. Remember, 5 being the worst, 5 being the best. I keep on saying 5 being the worst. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Okay, straight into distance, and I've given it 4 out of 5. I wasn't swinging that well on the day, I have to admit, and I was hitting the face a little bit, all over the place than I would normally with a hybrid. But 218 is above the average that I sort of look for, and every club that I do get for you guys to review, I do look at a lot of the reviews myself just to see how they generally perform for your PJ professionals, and let's be honest, probably better players than myself. And they're all saying the distance is pretty good with this. So 4 out of 5, I think, is very fair. And it's a Taylormade, so you'd expect good distance because they do make really good hybrids. So because of that really long one, for me anyway, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It's no for me a Sim, Sim Max hybrid was 5 out of 5 was a monster, but it's definitely got some good distance in here as long as you hit around the middle of the face because it's not that forgiving. On to feel, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. It feels more like an iron, which you want from this club if you're going to look at this club because that's the whole purpose of it. But personally for me, I prefer something that feels a bit more like a wood. I prefer a little bit more of a bigger hybrid. I prefer that sort of woody feel. That's the thing. With this, feels a little bit more with an iron. And also, across the face hits, I wasn't exactly too sure sometimes where I hit it across the face. I thought I'd hit it quite well. Looked up and it wasn't quite where the distance I was expecting, to be honest. So, giving it a 3 out of 5. Not bad, but for me, I probably expected a little bit better for me anyway when it comes down to Taylormade and hybrids and rescues because they make some really good ones. They made really good ones over the years. Looks, I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. I love the color scheme, really enjoy the head cover for the Stealth. Um, but just because of that shape, that more sort of player shape, I prefer a bit more of a bigger profile for that sort of confidence inspiring club, which I personally want my hybrids to be. So I'm going at 3.5 out of 5, just for the shape, I'd say more. That's why it's dropped. Going into forgiveness. Now, forgiveness, whenever I do a forgiveness rating, it's very much per that type of club. So I'm very much looking at this from a hybrid perspective, from a rescue perspective. I'm not comparing this to a long iron, or a utility iron like I've got in the bag, my crossover ping, G410. I'm not comparing it to this because they're still in my mind, even though, they're competing for the same spot in your bag, they're very different clubs. So even though what I'm about to say about this forgiveness is great, you can still expect it to be greater than that. Okay. So forgiveness, I'm giving it 2 out of 5. As I mentioned already, ball speed dropped down to 126 miles per hour on bad hits, only 201 total distance. And the average as well, 208. It's because of that, it's brought it down a little bit. So forgiveness, I've given it 2 out of 5, just because it's a hybrid, so it's definitely more forgiving. Well, personally, I think more forgiving than the majority of your utility irons, definitely your longer irons. But for a hybrid perspective, it's definitely one of the least, in my mind anyway, forgiving ones out there. So that's why I'm giving it a 2 out of 5, because it's very much that better players hybrid, and that is who this hybrid's for, and that is who should be looking at this hybrid. If you want a hybrid in your bag, go for the normal Stealth one, go for the Sim Max, which I love. I think it's the best hybrid out there still on the market, or go for a Ping, something like that. Something, because the Ping does as well have the adjustability such as this, but it's a much more forgiving head. Now on to price. Now, as I mentioned with price, this is cheaper than the Sim 2 Rescue, which was brought out a year before this. So if you're looking on second-hand shops over here, say Golf Bidder, this goes for just under £100, or starts just under £100, it's around $125. But a Sim 2 is around £106. So that's around $132. So you're paying an extra £6, £7 for an older club, which is exactly the same. They're both the better player hybrids. So it makes you think, second-hand market, I'm seeing 3 hybrids, 4 hybrids, going for around that sort of £100 mark, maybe £110, so $125, $135, $38, a few popping underneath that. So overall, I think price-wise, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. Because if you're looking for this, if you're that better player, lower handicapper who strikes their irons really well, but just wants a little bit more forgiveness in their hybrid, well, a little more forgiveness, sorry, than their irons. So they want the hybrid that looks compact and they can have great workability with it, which you do have with this. For that price, I think is a great option because people are still looking at the Sim 2. So the Sim 2 price is above this because people are looking at the Sim 2 over this, even though this is technically the newer model. And I'll get into the Sim 2 in a second at the end of this. So 4 out of 5, I've given this for price because I think it's quite a good deal. If you're looking for something like this in the market, it's definitely something worth looking at. And also, I've seen them still in shops actually, £160 over here in the UK in stores. And I'm sure over in America, you can probably pick them up in stores as well for a fraction of the price that you paid new. Well, they were brand new. So there you go. On to, though, the issue and the elephant in the room. Why is the Sim 2, which is a year older than this, going for more money? And there's a few reasons. Number one, the Stealth brand wasn't received that well. The whole carbon face and everything looked great, but didn't quite perform well. The Sim 2, on the other hand, performed really well. The driver was great. The fairing was great. The iron, everything was great about that, and everyone was really into the Sim range. It's only really the Stealth 2 came out, the Stealth 2 range came out, where they tinkered with that sort of carbon fiber face for the drivers, etc., that they were finally starting to match the Sim 2. So Taylormade actually, after a year, sort of actually lost a little bit of performance, say forgiveness. I think the majority of it was forgiveness, really, not distance, but forgiveness by going down that carbon route. And with this as well, they tried to make a lot of changes necessarily to it. Well, underneath the hood, you'd say, even though there's really not that much they can do with these things nowadays. And it just didn't perform as well as the Sim 2 when it came down to forgiveness. Distance wise, yes, out the middle, but forgiveness, no. And that's the thing. The Sim 2 Rescue is still a workable club. You know, it is still very much your lower handicap, hybrid, but it just had a little bit more forgiveness than this. And so that's why a lot of people are still picking up the Sim 2. I remember Rick Shields last year was playing a hybrid. He could be playing the Stealth 2 Rescue, could be playing the Stealth here Rescue. He wasn't. He was playing the Sim 2 Rescue from 2021, which says everything there. So there you go. Do I think this is better than the Sim 2? Probably not. I think the Sim 2 Rescue was so good. I think this lacks a little bit behind it. But the Sim 2 goes for a lot more money, potentially at the moment. So I think this is still a great bargain and still a good option for anyone who wants that better player hybrid and they know they're going to be hitting it around the face. All you care about is the distance and workability, and you're not really too fussed about obviously the forgiveness side. Obviously you are, because you're looking at hybrid rather than long iron, but you're going to get enough forgiveness in the hybrid, then this is the club for you. Okay, guys, there you go. There's my review of the Stealth Plus Hybrid. Number wise, across the board, pretty decent, but with Taylormade and how good they are at making hybrids, to say, even though it performed well, across the board, apart from forgiveness category where it did not, still a little bit disappointed by this, to be fair. And like the idea of this better player hybrid, and I just don't think Taylormade quite got it that year, even though it's still a good option out there on the second-hand market, all brand new. So there you go, guys. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a like. If you ever played the Stealth Plus, let me know your thoughts, especially if you played other models similar to it, like the Sim 2 Rescue or the Stealth 2 Plus now, or even the QI10 Plus. Let me know your thoughts, definitely, when it comes down to this cup compared to those. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. Brand new videos come out weekly, every Sunday. Well, 12 a.m. Sunday UK time for a brand new review, but there's also other videos that come out as well. So remember to hit that subscribe button to make sure that you do not miss out. Okay then, I'll catch you soon for the next ACS Golf video.